Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back. So, since our last video, I added in just a hint of a front door frame right over here and right down here, and I also worked on the shadows on the porch a little bit more, but that's about it. And in this video, we're just gonna add in a few more little tweaks and details here and there, and then we're gonna move on to color adjustments and lighting adjustments and all those final tweaks and details and all that stuff. But the first thing we're gonna do tonight is I want to add some warts to this woman's hand. I want to make her hand just look a little more gnarled and gross and witchy. I'm going to pull up some wart pictures, and I got these nasty warts here, and I got this big old nasty hairy wart here. So let's grab this one first. And we're going to select that and copy it. And we're going to go to our hand layer. Just paste that. Oh, that's a huge wart. We need to scale that down. So maybe we can put that wart like right on our thumb. And just adjust those colors a little bit so they match. And then we'll just blend it in with the rest of the finger. Alright, so now we got a nice gross wart right on our thumb. But let's add more. So we got a nice cluster of warts going on right here, so I'm just gonna grab that. And just feather that out. Maybe stick that, let's see. Let's just put that right here on our thumb. And again, just make some adjustments so it matches our hand a little better. And put a mask on it. And just fade it out. So it all blends together. All right, and let's grab these two. And maybe we'll stick these on this finger here. So I'm gonna put a mask on that and just blend them in with our hand. And again, just gonna do a few more adjustments so the color matches a little bit better. Alright, so now she has some nasty warts on her hand to match her nasty personality. So let's move on to the front yard and the street area. And I'm just going to turn off all those layers in front, so I just see the yard. And we have this tree here, and I'm just going to get rid of that. So I'm going to use the patch tool to see if I can't take that out. Yeah. That should be good enough. Right here. You know what? I think we can just clone stamp all this stuff out. You're not going to see much of the front yard in the final piece, so if this doesn't look perfect, it's not a big deal. And I'm just going to mask off this side of the street over here. And let's go to our street layer. And just darken that up a little bit. And maybe do a color overlay. Just take a sample out of the background there. I think that should be good. Alright, so I'm going to add in a fence going across her front yard right here. So we'll do that next. And I got this picture here. I'm thinking maybe we can just select it with the channels, because I certainly don't want to clip that out with a pen tool. So let's copy our blue channel. Bring that up. Bring the whites over. And let's use our burn tool to just darken up these areas here a little more. And this fence is going to be sort of far off into the background, so if the selection isn't perfect, it's not a big deal. Let's try that and see how that looks. That's not bad, but we missed some of the highlights on the edge of the pickets here, so maybe we can do a better job with our lasso tool. Yeah, I think that did a better job getting all the highlights and details from the fence. But we got a lot of stuff down here we don't want, so I'm just going to erase that out. And I'll just combine that with my other selection. So between the two of those, I should be good. I have a lot of stuff down here I didn't want, like all the shadows and stuff, but we can take that out later. Alright, so let's bring that fence in here. And let's start just by darkening that whole thing up a little bit. And let's cut this into 2 sections. Let's cut that piece off. And we'll rotate this piece about like that. And let's stretch this one to just go to the end there. And I'm going to warp that a little bit just to match the curve we got going on with the background. And same over here. Just going to put a bit of a warp on that to match our curve. So we need to continue this fence off a little bit more. And to do that, I'm just going to select a big piece here. Just copy and paste it in. And we'll just continue that fence over here. Just line it up with the other fence. Darken that up a bit. And I have a bit of, I guess, like a driveway going on here, but I'm just going to get rid of that. So I'm going to copy that fence layer and just put that right in front. And we'll just blend together these 2 parts of the fence. And you know what? I think I want to just get rid of this gate. So I'm just going to mask that off entirely. Alright, I think that's looking good, but I want to add a little bit of a shadow coming off of our fence. So I'm going to take that entire fence section and copy it and merge them all together. And I'm going to desaturate it and just make it completely black. And I'll put that on multiply. And I'm going to distort it so it looks like a shadow from the fence. And put a bit of a blur on it. And we'll put a mask on it and just fade off the top a little bit. Just so the shadow is a little stronger at the base. And we're just going to do the same thing for over here. Alright, I think that's good for our fence. Let's turn back on all of our front layers. Alright, so we finally have all of our elements laid in and done. So now we can work on to just some overall color and lighting adjustments. And first, I'm just gonna turn our two child groups into smart objects. That'll just make things a whole lot easier to deal with. So let's start off just by going to our color lookup and see if there's anything in here we can sort of build off of. That's kind of nice for the night background, so maybe put that behind the porch or in the yard. I like that. So let's maybe copy that and put that behind the kids. Because I want the kids to be lit up from the light coming from the door. But everything else behind them should be pretty dark and blue. Let's put a mask on that. And let's mask this off where our light from the door is shining out. Yeah, that looks good. And I think I want like a creepy green light coming from the door. So I'm gonna make a new layer and put it underneath the apple hand. I'm just gonna take like a bright green color. And I'm just gonna very roughly just paint in about that. Maybe soft light. All right, let's turn that opacity down some. You know what, let's put on linear dodge, but turn that opacity down. And just blur that entire layer out some. Alright, so let's go to our children, and I'm gonna put a adjustment layer on them. And I think I just need to darken them up a little bit. Now copy that adjustment and put it on his arm. And I'll copy that adjustment again and put it on the other kid. And I think we need to push our background to the back a little more. I'm gonna try just making a layer of mist behind the porch. Because I want the blacks of our porch to be the darkest, and as it goes to the background, it should slowly get lighter and lighter. And let's make a layer behind the fence. And just paint in some white. Again, just to create some atmosphere. Put that on lighten. And just screen that back. And I'm going to turn our apple layer into a smart object as well. And put a levels adjustment on that. And I think just darken it up a little bit. And turn up the lights. Just to give it a little more contrast. Alright, so let's add some colors to our children. So I'm going to make a new layer on this kid, And just pick like a blue color and just totally fill the entire layer. And maybe put it on soft light color. Maybe darken. You know what, let's use darken and just turn it down a bunch. And I'm gonna put a mask on that blue layer and just totally fill the mask with black, so it's totally gone. And then I'm gonna go back in with my white brush and just paint back in that blue just along the edges. You know what, instead of darken, I think I like soft light better. So let's put that blue layer on soft light. Alright, so let's do the same to this kid here. Let's copy that blue fill layer, put it over that kid. We'll just paint with white to get some of that blue nighttime rim lighting. So all along the edge of his hair here. Alright, so now let's make a new layer on top of this kid and fill it with green. Maybe try it on linear dodge. Alright, let's try that. And let's put a mask on that and just fill the mask with black so it's totally gone. And we'll just paint with white where we want that green to show up. And let's do the same to this kid over here. We're going to copy that green layer and just paint with white in the mask to get that green to show up on the highlights. And I think I want to bring out some more highlights on this kid here. So I'm going to copy that child layer and I'll just rasterize it. And I'll put it on screen. And I'm going to desaturate it. And go to my levels. And just bring over my blacks. Just so our whites are punched up a little bit. Yeah, see, that gives us a little more highlights and a little more shape to his face. Alright, so we got to add color to his hand as well. Let's copy those layers and clip it to his arm. And again, we'll just paint with white in the mask to get those greens to show up where we want them. And let's add some of that green to the old woman's hand. So again, just going to make a fill layer clip to the hand smart object. And I'm going to put a mask on it and fill it with black. And we're just going to paint on the edges where we want that green. And let's turn that layer down a little bit. It's a little too strong. let's try making a selective color adjustment over the entire piece. And let's go to our whites. And maybe just turn up our whites all the way. And let's make another one of those green layers. Put it behind the kids, but in front of the porch. And put it on like soft light. And again, we're just gonna mask it all off to begin with. And let's paint a little bit of that green lighting on these porch posts. Alright, so I think I need to do a little more experimentation as far as color and lighting because it's just not quite there yet. And to be perfectly honest, I'm not exactly sure what it needs. I think I need to just sit with it and play around a little bit more and experiment with some things. But for the sake of our video series, I think I'm going to end it right here because all the little tweaks I'm going to make, I don't know if they're worthy of another video. I mean, it is like 99% done. It's just not quite 100% for me. So with that said, I'm going to end it here. Thank you for watching and take care.